Hi, and welcome to MC4C TV. I'm Judith, the new youth enterprise champion, and I'm with Fran Swann of Apricity Jewellery. Thanks for joining us, Fran. How have you been keeping during the pandemic?
Not too bad, really. I mean, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without having my jewellery business because I just came out of uni last June and obviously I couldn't get a job. I really struggled with that and everything. So it's been a bit tough, but my jewellery has kind of got me through it as a little hobby as well. So yeah.
That's great. No, so you're new from uni. How was uni during lockdown?
Well, I had to hand in my dissertation during lockdown, yeah, and everything. So that was such a stress. And then after I handed it in, it was kind of like this, what it's like outside now. It was gorgeous sunshine. And I was like, I just want to spend some time outside. And I started hand making all my jewelry. And I was like, oh, it was just nice to get outside and just do something like hands on, not looking at my screen anymore. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually going to try and sell this stuff. So it kind of just all started from there, like just literally in my garden, laid out in the sun, like just doing some jewelry. And yeah, it started off just like that, and now I'm selling it on Etsy, online, on my own website and everything. So yeah, still going a year later.
Brilliant, brilliant. What are some of the challenges you faced as a business during this pandemic?
I think what I've struggled with the most is I think it'd have helped if I'd have gone to like markets in front of people, and I'd have loved to do that. And I still haven't got the chance to do that yet, but I really would love to do that. As well, it's kind of just sometimes some months can be really good. Like during Christmas, like obviously I was selling quite a lot then because everyone was getting presents, and then some months were really quiet because people are thinking I'm not going anywhere. It's locked down. Like I don't need to buy any jewelry. So it's just trying to get through the months really with that. Like to persuade people to buy my jewelry when they don't even really need any to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's been okay.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, this year you'll get a chance to hopefully, if June 21st happens, we can
Yeah.
be out and about again. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's what I was hoping, like, especially if there's like a few little festivals in Hull or anything, like Humber Street Session, or sometimes they do like little stalls there and everything. So I'm really excited. And even like Trinity Market, I'd love to do some little stalls in there as well. So
Oh, I hope you get to do that.
yeah.
How did MC4C support you?
So it really started just by doing like one-to-ones with Graham, and then also doing my business skills as well. And it's just kind of like getting my head around being like a young entrepreneur and kind of just even stuff like tax, like that was a massive thing for me that I was really scared of. Like everyone was like, you need to make sure your tax is right, like, oh, the government will come for you. So I was like, it just sounds so scary. Like I didn't know how much I had to pay. Like I know that I had to start like taking into accounts, like doing all my books and everything. So Graham and all the business skills, that really helped with me, like just trying to understand that, how tax worked, and even just what the advantages and disadvantages are of being like a young entrepreneur. And then I realized that the advantages usually do outweigh the disadvantages. So I decided, yeah, I am going to keep on going, because sometimes, like I said, it can be a little bit slow and you can think, oh, is it really worth doing this? Like, should I just get like a normal job and go out? But then I decided, like, no, working for myself, like I do love it. Everything's on my own terms. And even just seeing people in my jewelry and everything, like it's worth it in the end, like definitely.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm so glad you were able to get that support.
Yeah.
What would you say? I know you mentioned about the advantages and disadvantages. What would you say are some of the rewards of being your own boss?
I think the rewards, I think one of the big ones for me is that it's all down to like me at the end. So whenever anyone's like putting pictures on Instagram in my jewelry or anything, like that reward that I get, and like, oh, it is worth it. Like that is a huge advantage that I am my own boss and I get all that recognition almost. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's also another one, like time, like I could fit it around other stuff. So I have got a few other like little graphic design jobs that I do, like freelancing and everything. So it is kind of like, right, I'll get up in the morning, I'll do my jewelry, and then I can do my graphic design stuff later. So it's all on my own time and everything like that. And yeah, just being able to make my own decisions as well, like, because I do like graphic design. It's like making my own website, like dictating what that looks like, getting in touch with influencers and having that relationship with them as well. Like, I've got some quite good friends now that I've made from like just contacting them being like, oh, can you post on your Instagram for me? And now I'm like really close to them and I always send them different stuff. But so yeah, I do love it working on like being an entrepreneur now, a young one.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a good thing to do, to enjoy what you're doing, you know, because then it'll keep you going, won't it? What about
Exactly.
the downside? What are some of the difficulties you face as a self-employed person?
I think it's mostly because I'm such like a creative person, it's kind of like the money side to it. So when I'm having to sort out my books and all like the accounting side and like the ins and outs and all my expenses, I'm quite bad at keeping track of all that. So sometimes I wish that I kind of like had someone to hire to be able to do all that for me. Like I had my own accountant to just give all the receipts to and then they could do it all for me. So that is like a major thing because I just think, oh, I just wish I could do it all and leave someone else like all the boring stuff really to do. So that's the main thing that I think is just a bit like of a hassle for me because I just can't, I'm a bit rubbish at keeping up with it all and making sure I keep all the receipts and keeping my books up to date.
No, I'm sure you're doing very well with it. You know, as long as, like you said, you keep on top of it. Plus, the
Yeah.
business skills would have helped you. And
Massively, yeah.
Graham is there to support you
Yeah.
anytime you need any help. That's
Yeah.
good.
And they gave me some great tips as well, actually, just to like a way to keep up to date with it. And even when we had like a group session, it was quite nice to hear like all the feedback from other people being like, oh, this is a really good way to do it. Like, why don't you get envelopes for each month and then put all your receipts in them envelopes and at the end then you can sort it out and you've got them all organized. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think of doing that. Like, so that was quite good as well, like talking to other like young people who were starting off their own business and then they could give like tips to me as well. So that was really good.
Oh, that's good. You mentioned earlier about your website. You have a really good website, by the way.
Oh,
And
thank you.
your Etsy page, you know, there's some really beautiful pieces on there.
Yeah.
Of course, you said earlier that you have some background in website designing. What's the key to developing a good website?
Well, I think so. I started off, like I said, I started off with Etsy, and I actually only started my website through getting the funding from MC4C. So that was from the Young Enterprise funding that I got. So I only managed to start it because of that, because I know when you actually start a website, it can be quite expensive to start it off. So yeah, so I'd done graphic design like kind of at uni and everything like that. So I use Wix to start my website off. And I think really it's just using your own photos for me, like especially my own jewelry. I use my own camera to just take all my own photos. I take photos on myself or on my friends when lockdown was over, obviously outside and everything. So, and just taking them like in the garden and everything and just getting like your own original content for your own website. I think that's like a really good thing when you're starting off your own site and just making sure it's really clear. You've got like organized sections for where everyone can find everything. And it's good, the website that I used actually to create on Wix, I can send out emails to people as well. So when I have any new collections out, I can send out an email being like, oh, I've got these new sunglasses out now. Like I've just done that today. So, and then that drives so many people into the website. So yeah, it's really good.
That's good. You mentioned about earlier again, you mentioned about the social media, people sharing your post.
Yeah.
Would you say social media has played a key role in getting customers?
A hugely, like in the beginning, it was kind of like I tried to get like small influencers on Instagram, just with a few thousand followers and everything. And then I realized how much of a difference that made, how many followers it brought into my Instagram page. Because Instagram, like on my Instagram page, I post like, oh, this is on my website now. Like, oh, these, like I show how you can style different pieces of my jewelry and just really show like the details of it as well. So yeah, definitely. As soon as I started realizing like using influencers was working for me, like I've even gone to the point where I'm paying people to like influence it now, which is crazy. Like, so I'm like, oh, if I pay you this much money, will you post it on your Instagram? And like, yeah, of course. I send out quite a lot of like free jewelry to influencers. They post it on their Instagram, and then it just drives so many different followers to my account, just from like all over the world as well. So that has hugely helped sales. Like, I recognize it straight away. As soon as an influencer posts on Instagram, I'll get like so many sales from just that one post. So it kind of ends up like getting the money back from it anyway. So it is worth it.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's what works that you want to be using, you know, what's bringing in traffic, you know, and I'm glad that the money you pay influencers, it kind of balances out, or it's worth it.
Definitely.
Why did you call your business Apricity? Because that's a beautiful name.
I called it because it was actually, so last year when it was really sunny outside, I was reading one of their mindful books, and in the back of it, it was like, oh, words you need to know. And they always have like little words in it, and I love it. And it was just Apricity, and it said the warmth of the sun on your face. And I was like, oh, I love that feeling. I was like, everyone kind of loves that feeling though, don't they? It's like the vitamin D intake. It's like, oh, it's just such a nice feeling. I was like, I love the word. It's so beautiful. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to call it. So it just went from there.
It is a beautiful name, honestly. Yeah, beautiful name, especially the meaning you've just said. It's a beautiful meaning too. You know what, Francine?
People to learn, like, it's nice.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's true. It's true. It's young people like yourself that are inspiring people like me also to become entrepreneurs, to see your success, and you know, that's also inspiring, you know, myself as hopefully as well to follow your footsteps. Would you recommend MC4C to a friend?
100%. I've already recommended it to so many of my friends. Like, even I think like my friend was like, but I don't do like jewelry or anything like that. I was like, no, but she does like nails and everything. And I was like, no, go for it. Like, you learn so much, and even stuff that you haven't even thought about. Like I said, like books and accounting and everything like that, the behind the scenes of kind of your business, you learn a lot about that. And even getting in contact with different people like who are also kind of going through the same thing as you in Hull, and getting them connections, and kind of, it's nice to be able to share each other's businesses as well online, and getting them connections from MC4C. So, and even like now, like I'm still in contact with Graham, like, I need to sort out my tax return, like, can you help me? And he's like, yeah, of course, like, it's not a problem. So yeah, it's really good. And definitely, I think the main thing is them connections that I've got from it. So
no, that's one thing. Networking is important, you know, to be able to connect with other, especially young people going through the same thing as you, and supporting each other that way. So I'm glad MC4C gave you that opportunity to connect with other young people who are doing the same thing as you. Fran, it's been so lovely chatting with you today, and thanks again for agreeing to talk to us.
No problem, not at all.
We'll give your social media handles at the end of the video, and we'll try to get everybody, make sure you follow Fran's business page on all social media platforms and visit her Etsy page.
Yeah, amazing.
We'll put all the details at the end of the video. And Fran, I wish you all the best with your business, and thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much.
If you're a young person, or you know of a young person who is thinking about starting their own business, please get in touch with MC4C. Just like Fran, we can help you develop your business idea, launch your business, and continue to give you support throughout your business journey.